Most people think that being nice at work is a great quality and that it's actually going to help you accelerate your career. And sometimes it can. But for the large majority of the time, unless you're being strategic about how you use your kindness and knowledge, it can actually be a hindrance to your progression. So what does being nice look like at work? Saying yes to everything, not speaking your mind, not correcting colleagues when they need to be redirected, letting others take credit for your work, avoiding conflict, and awaiting recognition to come and find you. The truth about the working world is that I've realized that actually perception is more important than performance. And that's not to say that your performance can be pitiful. Making sure that your image of being someone who's competent and is able to deliver on key areas of your job description is far more important for recognition and progression than being kind and nice. What being nice actually prevents you doing is specializing in the areas that you need. It means that you're often stretched. It means that the work that you're doing is often then given to other teams who then take credit and build on that work. I have also seen instances where when you're working late or being stretched, the comment has actually been, are you able to prioritize work correctly? So actually within the British and UK market, being able to be seen to prioritize work and finishing within your working hours is something that is applauded and encouraged. The other thing is being agreeable and quiet doesn't actually signal leadership. Being able to voice concerns in an amenable fashion and bringing folks along the journey and seeing your perspective is actually valued much more than you would think, because actually companies are trying to save money, manpower, and time. And so if you're able to show where things might be failing or where certain ideas might not be the most strategic, leaders within your team will really appreciate you for that. So make sure that the experiences that you've had in other organizations or in other teams, you're able to bring that out and show people from an evidence-based perspective why it is that you're disagreeing with them. And then if people are still going ahead with certain ideas, you can then say, hey, dropped a note to say what my concerns are, and then you can move on with your work and priorities and projects. But even if peers do go ahead with certain projects, what you will find is that people appreciate the fact that you were able to put your head above the parapet and actually have an opinion and stand for an idea. And that shows leadership. I always say being respected is more important than being liked, and being respected comes from having strong ideas, strong leadership, making sure that you bring the team along the journey, being able to prioritize work. If you're not able to do certain work, making sure that you are then able to find someone else within your team or within another sister team to be able to help colleagues who might need support. So some of the tips that I would have is speak early in meetings, make sure that you disagree respectfully and use evidence rather than feeling. Document your wins every quarter or every time you get positive feedback, put it into a file. And when you're having your recognition or annual appraisals or quarterly appraisals, bring that up and make sure you spend at least half a day on getting your annual appraisal stuff sorted out. Don't just think that your team or your company or your organization will recognize it. Actually, what they recognize more is when you formalize things and produce the evidence of good opinions. Make sure you attend meetings early, set very strong boundaries in terms of work. And if you are stepping outside of those boundaries, let your managers know, I'm helping team X, Y, and Z with this, and that's why my delivery for X, Y, and Z in my own team is going to be delayed. Are you okay with that? Or can we get someone else to support this team? Also ask for stretch opportunities where you might be looking at a budget or to train junior members so that you are always seen as someone who is strong at leadership. Your career, in summary, reward transparency and visibility. Make sure that you get that. So as ever, the advice here is always practical. So we're going to get into the homework section. I'm going to give you a few tasks to do so that you can implement the advice that's been shared. The first task is to say no to something. To say, hey, I have this as the main priority and I'm going to focus on that. And maybe someone within team Y or Z can help you with this said task. And if your colleague does insist that it is you that they in fact need to do this, say, hi, can I get that done for you the following week? So making sure that the priorities that you have for that day is withheld within your team. So what we're trying to do here is train the muscle to say no and make sure that your priorities are protected. Priority number 2 is speaking early in a meeting. So that could be opening a meeting when someone gives a certain idea, saying, hi, I agree with this idea. Could we enhance it by doing this? Or if you disagree, saying, that's a really interesting point. I have found on the other hand that doing X, Y, and Z has resulted in this. Would it be better to try another strategy? The third thing to do at the end of your week is to write 2 wins that you've had and make sure that you put that into a folder that you've titled wins or good testimonial. So you've got that to hand when it comes to your appraisal, or again, when you're having a bad week, to refer back to it. The fourth thing to do is share opinion with someone within your team. So when you're looking at an idea, if you've got a better way to improve it, or if you are in agreement or disagreement, that you share that opinion. The fifth thing to do is ask for an opportunity that you can do in the next quarter. So if there is something that you wanted to try out, or a skill, say in BI, that you wanted to learn, ask your team if there's something that the next quarter you can get involved in that is in alignment with some of the hot skills, whether that's AI, BI, cloud, so that you are strategically positioning yourself to other teams and also for other roles external to your company. If you found this video helpful, please do subscribe, like, and please also share this with a colleague who you might think is super nice and super helpful, or at times being stretched and that you're worried about may burn out. I hope this advice is useful, and I will see you on the next one. Bye.